Hello everyone, it is me, the Goof, and today we're going to take one final look at Pixel Game Maker. It's just one last look at the software and give my final thoughts on it. I got to use it for free for a week. And I've got a lot of good things to say about it, but I've also got some, we'll just say negative things to say about it. A lot of frustrations with the software, and I feel like this is going to be any software that's meant to make something, meant to let you make almost anything two-dimensional. You're gonna have frustrations. You're gonna have issues. Because it's always going to be complex. I think. I mean, unless somebody practically makes the game, all the coding needed and everything, and all you're doing is assigning graphics basically, and you know, setting up levels and making minor adjustments to things that are already there in a simpler, smaller like environment. Unless somebody can come up with something like that, it's gonna be frustrating. They're all gonna be frustrating. Every maker that claims to be easy to use is still not going to be easy to use. Even when you don't use programming and whatnot, even when you're using a bunch of drags and drops and points and clicks, you're still going to end up with something that's frustrating to use. It's a sad truth when it comes to a lot of these softwares. So the same thing can be said of Pixel Game Maker MV. It has a lot of great things going on about it, but let's go ahead and take another look at it real quick, and we'll just kind of minimize like that and minimize that. And we have the software here. I started a tutorial, which I have a bit more to go on the tutorial test, educational test, whatever. I've been doing this for a while now. If you're the kind of person who doesn't easily feel overwhelmed, if you're the kind of person who's perfectly normal, has no anxieties or anything, this is I'm pretty sure this is for you. But if you're like me, you have anxiety, you have this feeling of dread and frustration whenever you're met with something huge and complex, this isn't for you. This is not for you. RPG Maker is like, if I wasn't so hung up on doing things a certain way, I feel like RPG Maker is still better software. There's things that they can improve, but let's go ahead and look at some things right here. Okay, I think we'll start with this project right here. This is a little example game, and I've messed around with stuff before, replaced character graphics and whatnot. This isn't what's difficult. In fact, this is my favorite part of the software, is creating maps. Creating these maps and setting up all this stuff. These are the better things about it. The better software about or the better parts of the software, I should try to say. I'm so sorry. This is the better part of the software, is laying out your. This is the fun part, is laying out your levels and things. This is awesome, and I really wish that RPG Maker had this. I really wish I could do what I want with what layer, put what I want on what layer, set up everything exactly how I want it set up on the layer that I want, with as many layers as I feel is necessary for my map. This is really good. I like the fact that you are practically drawing out graphics. I mean, this far one right here. It's practically drawn with tiles. Right here. This is it right here. It's practically drawn back here. See? This person is really smart. This software is it's really good. You literally draw a tile set, a map for your backgrounds. Literally. You're literally drawing these things out. It's amazing. It's fantastical. It's great. Everything, like I said, is just drawn together. This is the highlight of the software. If it didn't cost so much, I'd buy it just to mess around with maps and create stuff and tinker with stuff. But if you're seriously wanting to actually come up with something, and like I said, you have frustrations like I do, it's not that easy. It's not that good. So I don't know. I hate to deter people from trying it, but you all had all this week to try it. You had at least until you knew about it from me to try it, and it goes out Monday, and you can't use it anymore unless you buy it. But I can't justify the money that it costs to buy it. And every time they put it on sale, they only sell it for like 25% off, and I'm like, no, I'll wait for a 50% off sale. I don't mind slapping down about 40 bucks for this, but I'm not slapping down 80 bucks. But let's go ahead and talk about why. This is why. This is an annoying thing. And if you think this is bad, let me open up a different project, one of the examples. I will show you the really bad stuff if you think this is bad. Like, this is kind of bad, but it's not that bad. This is pretty basic. It doesn't get bad, but it does get bad. So let's go ahead and close this project. There was a project I tried. Let's go to the samples. Let's see where it's at. Here it is. Explorer. This is where stuff gets it gets pretty bad. In my opinion, anyhow. When you try to make something, a game kind of like this game right here, and I guess I'll show you how it plays. We'll just do that. Turn down the audio zone. Just kind of play it a bit. It's pretty well put together. It's basically Castlevania, by the way. There's a whip. You have a whip. You can throw items. If you duck and hit the attack button, you can throw a bomb. That's cool. They really done some cool stuff with this. I love that you can rotate items. Items can be rotated and morphed and warped for animations. It's wonderful. And I just killed myself. I forgot about that. You can't really do that. And there's no way to do a quick reset back to the start over or reset it that I know of. There might be a quick key, but... Oh, there it is. The spacebar is the jump button. There's no double jump, but yeah. So that's some cool stuff. That's really cool. That is awesome. There's nowhere to go. But just for this little bit and these actions and everything, the whip, the dagger, the bomb, that. Just to do those things, this is where it's gonna give you a headache. Holy crap! This is just anxiety-inducing. This is an anxiety-inducing thing. This is gonna make you frustrated. You're gonna look at this. If you're like me, you're gonna look at this and you're gonna feel overwhelmed. You're going to be like, why does it have to look like this? Why does it have to be anything like this? Why is it set up like this? Holy crap. Then you have all these down here. This is cool. Bomb, knife, whip. It has all the buttons like assigned here or something. And I'm guessing this tells it something. Or are these just notes? I think they're just notes. I could be wrong, but I think they're notes. I don't know. But wow, look at this. This would make me stay away. I don't like flowcharts. Not many people do like flowcharts. I can understand the frustration with people. This is some hard stuff to understand. Like, this isn't easier. This isn't easier than programming out things on a keyboard. There's nothing easier about this than programming. It's just as difficult. It's just as... And really it's difficult because of how it's laid out and how overwhelming it feels. Now, of course, you have this right here. You have these actions. This is a list of your action. These are a list of the links because that's what does it. Is actions and links between the actions with variables and whatnot. So these are the links. I'm grabbing links. So you can see them highlighting down the list. Yeah, just kind of going down and it's popping all over the place. And then you can go here and you can select the different buttons, I think. I thought you could. I thought it would do that. And I don't think it is. Oh, there it is. Yeah, now you can see it. And that's how it highlights it. And you can kind of go through and see it like that. But I kind of wish this over here was a little more like this here. I wish all this stuff was lined up in an orderly fashion. It didn't look like a jumbled mess. It would be easier to look at and to modify if you wanted to learn from it. But this is just all this stuff. I don't quite understand all these runtime actions and whatnot. Even after doing the tutorial up to the point that I've done the tutorials, I'm still just like, oh God. Oh God. I've gotten all up to tutorial 9, long range attack. And I haven't gotten to create enemy movement. I haven't done create, there's the rest of these are still to do. I haven't made it that far into it. I'm not going to get to make it that far into it. But like I said, it depends on the person. This isn't for everyone. That's the problem. I think they want it to be for everyone. I think they want it to be for anyone. I think they want somebody to just kind of be able to come in and just make something and it be easy, but this isn't easy. This is like especially just using this, just setting things up and trying to understand them is so painful. And look at this, and and I've said it before, RPG Maker does better with events than Pixel Game Maker does with objects, which are essentially the same. Objects and events are kind of the same. They're sort of the same. But when you go into RPG Maker, it's more unified, it's more orderly, and it's just better. Like, if I were to have to set up a character that you move around or anything like that, I could come in here and just kind of, let's see, new event. I can set up a character graphic real easy, right? Like, we'll just set this character up. There you go. There's a character. It already knows how to move for up, down, left, right stuff. But if I had to tell it how to do that, you could actually do that. There's a thing in here called let's see, there's movements, there's game progression, flow control, conditional branch. You can do a conditional branch, and you can go to you can go down here to button, and you can press down, left, shift, or down, left, right, up to. And you could literally go in and say, if you press left, there's an if, then you tell, you can set movement route of this player or this event. We'll say this event. If I want this event to react to everything that I press, I can tell it to, I think it's move down. Wait a minute, hang on. This event, wait, press down. Yeah, I could tell it to. Yeah, move down, and that would be essentially the same thing as with this big mess here, telling it to press a button, and just as an example, but I like this more because it's cleaner. You end up with this list of everything with ifs, ands, or buts and whatnot going down the list. Hey, and then you can do this again. You can repeat this, and I can tell it to react to all my movements. Like if I say, hold it, press down, tell it to press up, and tell the movement route to move up. Get rid of that. Don't want that. And I can repeat the process, and then this character will move around based on my input. That's easier to me. That's easier. Just going through this list like this, just going through this list in that manner is easier to me to set up. This is what Pixel Game Maker should have used for setting up objects. It should have used a screen just like this. Just create an object and, call it an object editor, and set up all that stuff that's in that horrible, sorry, that is not the right thing. This horrible, put-offish, frickin' this thing right here. This is very put off. This is a big spaghetti mess. Spaghetti wire mess. This is terrible. This is hard to look at and follow, and it's hard to set up and do. You might get lost easily with this. It's very unorderly. It's all over the place. It's not orderly. It's not, there's a word I'm looking for and I can't remember. It's not just streamlined or anything. It's a mess that's all over the place. Whereas if it was more like setting up an event in RPG Maker, you would just go down the list with a bunch of if this, do this, and if this, do this route, call this note, such and such. And that's why RPG Maker is loads better. I've understood how this works since day one. When I used the very first PC RPG Maker, the very first time I used RPG Maker 2000, I think that was it. The original RPG Maker 2000. I think there was even 2003 or something like that. I've understood this. I've always understood setting up an event. This is like, and if I wanted to, I could set up all the jumps and whatnot and everything I need from this. It's just so easy to understand. And it's easy to not get lost. It's all order. You can keep putting in all kinds of commands and input stuff and telling you what to do and saying call this and whatnot. And it's just easy to understand. It's laid out really, really well. RPG Maker got it. Pixel Game Maker doesn't got it. This is a big, it can be a confusing mess. This is a big, it's very put off. It's a big put off. It's put offish. You know, you're going to see this and you're going to just, if you're a normal person, maybe even not a normal person, I don't know. I know for me, this is, whoa. And this is something somebody else made. You know, so, you know, just going back to this right here, which is the thing that I was on where it was teaching me how to set things up. Even though it showed me what to do, I still didn't learn how to do anything. I still don't grasp the software. I was just following a step-by-step thing. If I went to go back and repeat this without the lesson, I wouldn't know where I was. I wouldn't know what I was doing. Everything's very ununified. That's the other word. Nothing's unified enough. It's a pretty big mess when it comes to setting up objects. And this is just for my player right here. This is just what I've got for walking around and jumping and attacking. This is all I've got. Wait until you make something more complex, when you have to make something to have a more complex movements and whatnot. I haven't gotten there yet, and I don't know if I'll ever get there. I can't honestly say that I'm going to buy this software. I got to try it for like almost a week, and I'm like, no, sorry. I'm like, no, sorry. So yeah, and I feel like the only thing that this thing has gotten right is scenes, which I would call maps if I were them. I'm not sure why they call them scenes. But you can look at this and look at RPG Maker and see a similarity in the maps and the scenes. Like, this is RPG Maker. This is Pixel Game Maker. Pretty similar. Scene list. So they did learn something, and this is the maps list. These are the maps. These are the maps. These are the tiles. But then we get up here to, when you look at Pixel Game Maker, you can set up layers how you want. Put what you want on what layer. Tell your layer to scroll at certain things, which I don't think I've done that yet. As you go this way, it becomes behind the character. So I haven't really set up backgrounds or anything yet. But I could. I could draw stuff in the background and whatnot and make layers that move by and everything like this. But this is the strong point of Pixel Game Maker right here. This is what's its strong point. This is what's really good about Pixel Game Maker. This is what's really bad. This is what just And don't get me started on transitions. I don't know why it's set like this. I would think setting up transitions would be more like setting up events, where you would literally right-click something on here and right-click, or yeah, or maybe, you know, select something over here and right-click and say create yada yada yada. You would go create yada yada yada, and then, you know, right-click and place in your portals. You know, right-click and place a portal in, and go into the event. All the information for portals should be right here on this side screen. Everything that you're going through, any sort of effects that you set up and everything should all be right here, easy to get. You should be able to make this all with ease, because if when you're going to start building a big world that's like a side-scrolling explorative game, it's gonna get a little confusing with how they have it set up, and you want something a little quicker. And it's really easy to set up a teleportation. I've got a teleportation set. There it is, right there. There's my teleportation. It's an event. All the information about the teleportation is here. Setting up, it has a sound effect, and then it transports you, and it has its own fade out. But I could assign a screen effect or something, and I could assign everything that I want with it. And with that transfer, you can tell it exactly where you want them to show up at in the next thing. I just think something more streamlined like this would be better than what Pixel Game Maker has, because transitions are set up through this stuff, and I shouldn't have to go to a different tab to do all this. It should be right there in scenes. It should be right here. That simple. It should be right here. It should be right here on the scene. You should just be able to right click and set up a transition. Stretch it out any way you want. If you need to stretch it out, tell it. All the information should be here, along with transition effects. If there's gonna be a fade in or anything like that, it should all be right there. There's something else I love about this when it comes to these maps. Let's go back to the scene. Go back down here. I figured out how to scene settings. I figured out how to tell the screen to stop just short of the end of the screen, and then stop moving. It's right here. It's set up all right here. I wish RPG Maker had this. This is what I wish RPG Maker had. This is wonderful. This is good, because the way I've got it set up, like this is scene 1, and then there's scene 2. You go to scene settings, and it's this side. It stops just short of this side. And what that's done for me, and I can show you real quick what that's done. Which I wish was something you could easily do in RPG Maker. Is made it to where, yeah, I've already set this up. There's a problem with this. I follow the tutorial to an exact, and if you hold the button, it just keeps doing it. It doesn't do like a proper attack. Like, shouldn't it just do it once it's hit? Like, and then it has to wait to get hit again or something? I don't know. Just like, why is it doing this? And then here's the funny part. You hit the button to jump. That was after I followed the tutorial up to where I followed it up to. I'm like, why am I doing this? But yeah, I cut the screen off just short of a tile, and bam, it cuts off. So it's like you're walking off into the next scene. Isn't that cool? I do kind of wish I could tell it to land just outside it, then turn over and land just outside it here, and then have to go in like that. I don't think there's any way to set it up to teleport exactly, show up right here, but then turn around and teleport and show up exactly right here. I don't know if there's a way to do that. And that's not good. I'm gonna have to do some more of this here in a little bit. There's somebody pulling into my driveway, and I need to see what this is about. Hey man, I got a log. Somebody just pulled up in my yard. I will probably start this back up here in a bit. I'm so sorry. This has been the Goof.